So I'll just start. We're Resonai. This is Shai. He's a product manager in charge of Unity Search, and I'm Galia. I manage business development in the company. Tafil?
Next slide. Another one. Okay.
So Resonai is an AI startup. We develop technology that enables computers to understand the real world, similar to the way that humans do. So, for example, when I'm looking at this room, I see that there is many chairs here, there's people, they're looking in a certain direction. I understand that I need to try to behave in a certain way because of that. I see this table, and I don't need to see the entire table to know that it's a table because it's context relevant. And I understand that the objects on the table are separate from the table, so I can pick it up. And this is exactly the experience that we're trying to enable computers to have of the real world. And one of the core capabilities of understanding the real world is understanding 3D content. So we've partnered with Unity in order to bring these capabilities to Unity developers to enable much more efficient access to the content on the asset store. So today on the asset store, there is tons of content, and it's growing rapidly. AR and VR that are coming into our lives require a lot of high-quality 3D content. And as the amount of content grows so much, we also need better tools to help you filter through the clutter and find the assets that you need. So this is what Unity Search is about. It's a plugin. It's available for download for free on the asset store. And anyone can download it. And what it allows you to do is search for the entire asset store content. So we index every single model in the asset store. We break down the packages to single models, and they're all indexed individually. You can use visual inputs or text inputs or combination of them. Shai will demonstrate this shortly to find these assets. And any assets that you find, you can preview in the scene that you're building. So effectively, you can create in seconds or minutes beautiful prototypes from all the asset store content without paying for any of the assets, and pay only for those assets that you would then want to use in game time. Because we analyze the geometry and the structure of each object, we enable filters on visual features, such as poly count and other features. So before we dive into Unity Search, I just want to explain shortly what is visual search and how 3D visual search is different from 2D visual search. So when we're talking about 2D visual search, we are talking about visual search of images and video. And video and image search is today pretty popular on many, and you can find it, you can see it on Amazon, on Pinterest. It's a very effective tool. But what it's good at, or relatively good at, is in classifying objects. So saying this is a chair, or saying this is a red chair because color is a 2D input. But sometimes it's not enough to know that this is a chair. For example, when you want to find a similar chair, you need to understand the geometry of the chair. The fact that it's a chair is not very helpful. Or if you're building something in AR eventually, and you want to place an avatar on this chair in a way that will look natural, you need to understand the geometry of this chair. So this is what our visual search is about. We take any 3D object in any format. It could be a scanned object in the real world. It could be a CAD model. It could be a 3D sketch of an object. Any 3D format, we transform into our own format, which is a mathematical vector of many, many features that captures all the geometrical properties of that object. For example, its location, its space, its structure, its size, its different parts, its proportions between its different parts, and many, many other features. And what this allows us then is to analyze the geometry and other semantic cues, such as style of the object, and retrieve similar assets that share common geometry and semantic features. I want to show you one example of scanned content. So this is a very different example than typical scanned content. Scanned content is really hard. It's much harder than CAD content because the real world is not a perfect world like a computer-designed world. So when somebody's wearing AR glasses and looking at the real world, or holding their mobile device and scanning a room, we can't expect them to go around every object for us to get a 3D view of it and understand it. So in case of scanned content, we need to recognize objects based on very partial information. Now, this is a project that is very close to my heart and different from most scanned objects. This is a project we launched last week at the Tech Museum of Innovation in San Jose in California. And in this project, children come to the museum, they build animals from Lego, then they scan these animals using an iPad that's mounted on a rotating table. So we do see the 3D model of the animal. And then our software needs to recognize what animal they built and bring it to life in the virtual space. So imagine that the maybe ugly elephant that you just built suddenly starts behaving like an elephant because the machine understood that it's an elephant. So this is really teaching children, how artificial intelligence works and how networks are trained to understand humans and enable new methods of communication. But what is special about this project is that when a child builds an animals from Lego, typically a human can't say what they built because it doesn't look like what the animal looks in nature. So we needed to train the network for months before we launched it on learning from the way other children build animals from Lego in order to understand what the children are creating. So we'll just show you a short video of that.
We've brought together an international team of artists, engineers and educators to explore the way artificial intelligence can change the way we play and create. The result is AImaker, a new immersive experience that invites visitors to collaborate with AI-powered robots and bring their creations to life.
Oh, it's an eagle.
Resonai is an AI startup that brings visual perception to machines, the ability to understand the environment. At the core of this exhibit is our visual search engine that understands the precise geometry and structure of 3D content.
I'm building my crocodile.
In this exhibit, visitors can experience the new possibilities of human-machine interaction. The visitor builds an animal, and the machine can understand their creation based on its shape. When a visitor picks an animal to build, we present them with different artistic representations of that animal. This inspires the visitor to think, what is the essence of that animal? What are the unique features that define it?
I got a lucky.
There's a combination of AI technology and creativity that I don't think you'll find in any other exhibit.
With AImaker, we're creating a completely new play experience that extends the physical world into the virtual space. Okay, now finally, let's move from single objects to full scenes. So most of the work that we've been doing in the company in the past years, I should say, is on understanding real-world content and full scenes, not only single objects. So imagine a scenario where you're building a game that happens in a coffee shop in Berlin. So one option you have is to go to the coffee shop, see what it looks like, and start modeling in 3D what that coffee shop looks like, which is it takes time and usually requires a lot of resources to do it. But what if you had another option of just scanning this coffee shop with your mobile device, importing into Unity, and we would reconstruct it for you? So the way it looks like is this is a scan. This is an example from one of the rooms in our offices. It's a pretty old example, so there's no texture and color here, so we're analyzing here depth information. So this was captured using a consumer-grade scanner similar to the one that you have today in iPhone X in the front scanner. So this is a rough scan of the room. It's a pretty rough scanning protocol that took a few seconds. The first step would be segmenting this scene and stitching together disconnected parts. So each color here shows, and everything here is done automatically. It takes less than 10 seconds, and there's no manual intervention or editing in the process. So the first step is segmentation and stitching together of disconnected parts. So each one of these colors, this notes that the computer recognized this as a single object. Now each one of these objects is sent to our search engine and replaced with the first hit on the search engine. And this is what you get. And this is a full 3D modeled scene. If there was texture and color on it, it would look like the real world scene. But unlike a 2D image, which is a copy of the real world, a 3D model can be edited, can be changed. And this will be the starting point to building your scene. So for example, for any object that you select here, you can ask to search for similar content, and we will offer you this content because we indexed it and we understand it. You can remove objects from the scene if you don't think they belong there. You can add different assets to the scene. So this is currently not supported in Unity Search. Unity Search supports single assets, but expect to hear news about this pretty soon. Without further ado, we'll move to Unity Search.
Thank you. So Unity Search is, again, a free plugin available on the Asset Store. Once you download and import it to your project, you can then open a Unity Search window, which is a regular Unity editor window. Then you're presented with a text bar. In the text bar, let's say I want to start prototyping again, and I'm looking for an airplane. So I can search for an airplane, and then I get search results that are individual models from the Asset Store. Again, we indexed all the models in the Asset Store, and every model here comes from a specific package. So when I click on one of them, I can see the number of materials, the number of polygons, and the price of the package it came from. On hover, I get a 360 image preview of the model, which is nice. Additionally, I can filter by number of polygons, number of materials to find models that fit my project and what I need, if I have Wi-Fi-ish. So that's the main features. Another great feature we have, which is our technology, it enables you to select a specific model of an airplane I like and ask for similar shapes. When I get similar shapes, I get visually similar shapes without having to know how the publisher annotated the model, what's the name of the specific airplane I was looking for, and without having to guess how I would describe this in words. I just click on a model I like, and then I get similar models. So let's go now into a scenario where I want to prototype a game with a female character that's fighting a giant cat. So let's say I have a cat here in my project, but the cat I have in my project doesn't come with any textures or materials. But I know I downloaded it at some point from the Asset Store. So what I can do, I can drag the model into the Unity Search window. Now it's being uploaded and processed and compared against all the assets in the Asset Store. And what I'm hoping to find is indeed the cat from the Asset Store. At this point, if I'm content with the result, I can drag it into my scene and make it bigger. And what we got here, what you saw is I dragged not the model itself, it's not the 3D content, it's not the model from the Asset Store. It's a 360 preview image, kind of a billboard type, that Resonai creates, that enables you to preview the object and start prototyping your game quickly and efficiently. So let's remove this cat. And let's take a better look at the results. So when we say visual search, we mean right now we're only using the shape to compare the models. So what I got here are not only cats. There are models, all of the models here do look like the cat I was looking for, but semantically they're a different entity. This is a fox and this is a dog. They're all similar to the cat I was looking for, but they're not exactly the same type of thing I was looking for. For that, text might be better for me if I'm looking specifically for a cat. Let's see another example. Now I'm looking for a female character, so I drag another character I have that I already pretty like from my local library. Again, I can upload this model to the Resonai servers. What did I do? Again, I can upload this model to the Resonai servers, and I'm hoping to find similar character to the character I queried to refine my results. So I don't want to start blank just by saying I want a female character. I want a female character that looks somewhat like the character I already have in my project. Now let's say the style of my games is a bit different, and I want to modify it a small part of this character. So let's say I want to make only the head bigger. Then I'm doing exactly that. And now, again, I can query this new model. This is a model that never existed before. I just created it. This is an object that our servers never saw. And in a couple of seconds, I should get models that are more similar to what I'm looking for. I redefined my intention to the search engine, and now I changed the search results to be in the style I'm looking for. Now, for my character to have a fighting chance against the giant cat, I want to create a small sword. So I'm adding a new feature to the character. It's good enough. Let's take this whole thing a bit up so it's visible. Capsule. So as you can see, I'm not very good at modeling models. But with just this one capsule, I changed the geometry of the model. And now by adding this new feature, I hint to the search engine that I want something that has a similar feature. Now I'm hoping to find a character that comes with a sword in her hand. Let's see if I got it. Yeah, so the search results changed, and I got a new character that's holding a sword. So now I have a character that I might want to use in my project. If this is indeed the character I want, I can then go to the asset store and purchase the package so I could use it in the game time when it's uploading. Yes. Nice. So now one final thing. Let's add a companion to my character, some kind of an R2D2 kind of a robot. So I'll just draw a quick model. Let's say I want a capsule and a sphere. Let's say maybe this is enough. Let's try that. And as you see, this is a very minimalistic hint to the search engine of what I'm looking for. This is just the general shape I want. And let's see if I find something similar. Let's see, I find all kinds of character and bottles and everything that has the same shape. And because I don't have any semantics in it, then I just get anything. But let's say I want this robot. Again, I can drag it into the scene and get a good preview of it before I decide to purchase it. And now let's take another look at text search. I need to remember my example. Let's say I'm looking for a birthday balloon. One of the limitations of text is that sometimes words have multiple meanings. So in this example, when I'm looking for a birthday balloon, I get hot air balloons and birthday balloons. That's because they're all annotated as balloons, and birthday is probably not a very common word in the annotations. So I get a lot of results that are not what I intended. But let's say I am looking for a hot air balloon, then I can search one of them and then refine my results. Let's say I can look at another example. Let's say I'm looking for a cart. Right now, the asset store is selling packages. So every package that has the word cart in it, every model inside that package would come off as a cart. So the text is limited to the quality of the annotation, the manual annotation people wrote about it. But let's say now I want this specific cart. I can ask for similar shapes, and then I only get the carts. I only get the stuff that are visually similar to the model I queried. And let's say I'm looking for a really hot dog. I can search for a dog, and then I get, if I have Wi-Fi, a hot dog car, side of hot dogs. So yeah, both shape and text can be deceiving. Let's say I'm looking for some dice for my game. Writing dice is pretty good. It's hard for me to hint the search engine that I want a cube dice and not just any type of dice. And if I would do a shape search on that, I would get anything that's cube-shaped, because there aren't many features in this model that would hint the search engine what I'm looking for. Everything that looks like a cube, we identify as a cube. That's something we're trying to improve at the moment, because we're not utilizing textures and materials. Right now, we're colorblind to anything in the model. And also, once we'll have enough user data, we'll know what's more relevant to people. And then we can start adding semantics and other layers to the search engine. Another example I really like, that's technically a bug. But when I'm looking for birds, I get mostly birds. And if I'm looking for specifically the shape of this bird, I would get, yes, some birds, but many airplanes that look similar to the bird. That's because they share some common geometry. So that's it for our talk. Again, the plugin is available for free in the asset store. Anyone has any questions? Again? No.
Just wondering where you're getting the shapes from. Is it the entire FBX file?
So we're in partnership with Unity. That's a collaboration we did with them. So we have access to all the packages in the asset store. And then for each package, we open it and crawl out every OBJ, FBXs, prefabs, whatever formats that contain 3D content. And then we import it. We export it to our own format.
Hi, thank you for the talk. This is really great. If I understood correctly, you only search by shape. So can I filter that search like with that dice? If I want just a cube dice, can I say dice and then add the shape search to that?
Yes, that's a great question. Right now we don't let you have any UIs for that, so you can't do it from the plugin. It's something we really want to have, but it's not in a level that we're comfortable releasing. It's a great feature. We really do want it, but it's more complex than it looks like. And if you want, you can come to the booth. We have a booth in the asset store, and come talk with us about that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there. Do you use the color information as well to help with the search?
So at the moment, we don't do any traditional 2D algorithms on anything. We don't even export the textures and the materials. That's something we want to roll out soon, and it's on our roadmap.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Just one last quick question. Can I input like pictures, images, and have that get out some 3D representation of the image?
No, so right now we don't do anything with 2D inputs,
Okay.
but this is something that will be
Okay.
added pretty soon.
Awesome, thank you.
Cool. So if you have any other questions, we have a booth at the Asset Store demo booth, and we'll be more than happy to talk. Thank you.